So here we have a perennial row on the edge of our main garden. These are muscadine grapes that produced this year.
Nice. What time of the year do they produce?
They produce in summertime. Like midsummer.
Nice.
And then here's our banana trees. They produced a lot last year, but the hurricanes blew down our flowers this year. And we had a massive flower.
Wow.
So we're gonna support them a little more next year, but I trimmed them down, get them a little shorter.
Are these Grand Naim bananas? Or do you know them?
So we have ladyfinger bananas, and these are the blue Java ice cream bananas that everybody's been talking about lately.
So that's how tall they're gonna get.
Yeah, I mean, this one got huge and it fell over. So I was like, oh man, these things are massive sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah, these are just the smaller trunks that didn't fruit this year.
Wow.
And I noticed that in these rows next to the bananas, there was a lot of washout because the bananas, basically, their leaves are hanging down over the bed, and the water trickles off into streams and washed out their arugula here. So what I'm doing instead is I'm planting garlic chives. So I'm planting a lot of perennials here because they don't mind the heavy rainfall as much because they're not like shallow rooted.
And I see that you just leave the banana leaves to feed them.
Yeah, I kind of mulched around here with the banana leaves.
Awesome.
Kind of like a chop and drop.
How long does it usually take for a banana like this to grow that size?
So I would say they started producing after the second year, and they might get this big in the first year.
Yeah.
But I feel like they need a little more establishment.
Awesome.
Especially we're in a subtropical area. So they have a limited growing season.
Not exactly tropical.
And sometimes they'll flower late, and so that flower won't have enough time to produce the bananas. So
interesting.
Yeah, the timing's interesting with bananas and the cold season, subtropical area. But it's interesting that we have grapes growing here, and then tropical bananas, and then peaches, and then papaya going down there.
Nice.
So North Florida is a weird place where you can have tropical and temperate plants growing together, you know? So we were experimenting with what works well. And then whatever works well, like the citrus works well here, we're planting way more of them. So we have 100 citrus trees here.
Whoa.
And we have about 50 at my parents' house.
Nice.
That are like 10 to 15 years old. So I'm trying to replicate what my parents had, but just plant a lot more citrus here because citrus doesn't mind the sandy soil. As long as we're enriching the soil with compost and organic fertilizer. So
awesome.
That's working out. The papaya, we'll check out that soon.
Awesome.
That's producing. But let's see the rest of the main garden and look at these radishes and marigolds.
Cool, let's go.
The marigolds have been really popping off. We've been selling marigolds on Red Hills as edible flowers now.
Nice.
Because I just didn't know what to do with so many marigolds. We've sold some marigolds at the farmer's market. But people really like to take the petals and put it in their salads. And then somebody was telling me at the farmer's market, they would buy marigolds to put in their baked goods because the orange color comes off the marigolds and will dye your food.
That's awesome.
We got a lot of marigolds. They were not producing in the summer, and then I fertilized them twice with an organic liquid fertilizer, and they are just going crazy now.
Nice.
So I'm happy about that. We have some radishes left. I harvested, these are purple daikon radishes. You can see the purple right there. There's some smaller ones left. And then we have the regular daikon. We also grew these Wakamine cabbages here last fall, and they did great in the main garden, even though we have less sunlight here. They'll head up, they'll just take maybe an extra month, and then in the spring when we get a lot more sunlight, they're really head up.
Nice.
So we just tried to plant them earlier this year so they could get a little bit bigger.
That makes sense.
Yeah. The Pequeño peppers.
Oh wow.
So we had a lot of these that did really well this year. They're still hanging on. But we have
spicy
these,
or how do they taste?
They're really like fruity pepper taste, like kind of sweet, and then they have a slight spice. And what I do is I put the whole thing, I take the stem off like that, and I put the whole thing in the dish because the seeds cook down.
Wow.
And it's like a little like gusher of pepper flavor.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we're gonna take these. I think I'm gonna pot them up and try to keep them going. I have pepper plants of these on the porch, so
nice.
I'm trying to overwinter peppers this year.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's been a little unseasonably warm this fall, so we've definitely had harder pest pressure and fungus pressure. And if you look at my videos on my YouTube channel, I went over like which brassicas, which cabbage family plants did the best in the hot summer.
Nice.
And I'm glad I stuck with those because it stayed hot for a while. And the flea beetles have been my worst pest because what they'll do, you can see the damage right here. They will discolor the leaves like that. And so you can still sell the greens, but people don't want to eat that as much. Right. There's really, it's just a aesthetic problem.
Right.
But when you have so much of that, it looks just not appetizing.
Right.
So I'm really trying to keep them down with diatomaceous earth. And I may go something a little heavier like paraffins.
Okay.
Like in the beginning of the season, in the spring.
Okay.
To keep the population down because they overwinter in the soil.
Right.
And they'll come out in the spring again.
Right. Start going crazy.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to deal with them. I've only used diatomaceous earth at this point. Here, this radish shows it all. This is a fungal spot issue. And that's when, like it's been really warm, when it's been raining a lot, because we have the hurricanes,
right?
These plants will just rot. So it's basically starting to rot, the lower leaves.
Right.
So what we're doing is we're trying to keep the spacing better, because you need airflow between your plants.
Right.
And I would love to get some high tunnels to keep it really dry.
Nice.
Because September is a very rainy month.
Right.
That's when we have the most hurricanes, so I'm looking out for that.
Right.
And trying to keep that down.
Okay.
This is gonna be a little food forest here. We have the papaya up here.
Nice.
This is almost 3-year-old papaya tree that actually resprouted from the base after a freeze. And there's green papaya in it right now.
Wow.
We'll probably just eat the green papaya because it won't have long enough to ripen.
Okay.
But if we can keep it alive this winter, next year it'll fruit early.
Right.
Because my mom has a papaya tree that has just continually produced.
What?
And so she gets papayas like this big that are super sweet.
She has more sunlight in her space?
So in the town, there's more asphalt and hills and stuff.
Right.
So there's like a heat
island effect.
The heat island effect.
Facts.
Down here, we're also lower elevation. Heat rises.
Right.
So it's actually quite cooler here. We're in the forest, so it's shadier. There's not a lot of concrete and asphalt. So we can be up to 10 degrees cooler here at certain times.
Wow.
So when we have a freeze, it freezes harder here.
So this papaya tree will get this tall within a growing season?
Yes.
Whoa.
Within like 6 months.
That's rivaling the moringa tree.
Right? If only we could eat the leaves.
Right. Wow. That's
I'm sure
awesome,
somebody does. But these are slippery cabbage.
Okay.
So these are also a Malvaceae. They're like a hibiscus family.
Okay.
And you can eat the leaves.
Okay.
These were gifts from Pathways Garden.
Nice.
And this is another hibiscus family.
Okay.
So we were given, and a mulberry as well. We were given these. Nice. I have one mulberry tree way over there.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to produce mulberries. This is what we call the north side garden. And it gets a lot more sunlight because the house isn't blocking the sun. So you can see this just channel of sunlight coming through.
Right.
And we planted collards here. We have red Russian kale, radishes, and arugula.
Nice.
And this is where I've been having the deer pressure. So the deer are starting to eat my radishes in the back.
Okay.
And they ate all the sweet peas.
Whoa.
So I'm gonna have to put a fence up here in the back.
Wow.
I have citrus trees here too. So I'm just glad they're not eating the citrus trees.
Right.
But the kale has been untouched back here, and this red Russian kale has been growing here since August.
Wow.
So red Russian kale is where it's at.
There you go.
So yeah, more brassicas over here, and everything's doing pretty well. we added a lot of clay and compost to this area.
Nice.
Because we have really sandy soil, and the clay adds a lot of minerals.
Nice.
So the clay, compost, and sand system seems to be working really well here.
That's awesome.
The only thing I needed more of was nutrients, basically. So I've been using garden tone as a fertilizer. Right. And I've also been using seaweed fertilizer, liquid seaweed fertilizer.
Nice. That's what we're using. We're using marine phytoplankton.
Nice.
Marfil.
Yeah.
That's
so
what it's literally
add those macronutrients and the micronutrients.
Facts.
Over here, it gets a little more perennial, and this is what we call the spiral garden.
Cool.
So we have the moringa here.
Wow.
This moringa tree gets the most sunlight, so it's really sprawled out. We have 5 moringa trees.
Okay.
And this one I've been harvesting from like crazy. It actually fell down to the ground. And you can see I've staked it up here.
Okay.
And I recommend putting some cardboard where the string contacts the tree so it doesn't girdle the tree.
Right, because the bark is kind of soft.
Every once in a while, I'll move it.
Right, to
so
keep the tension.
Pressure.
Right.
And actually, every time I move it down, it brings the tree up a little bit more.
Right. Wow, man.
And then we have an orange tree over here.
Okay.
And those are so sweet, they taste like tangerines.
Nice.
But they peel like an orange.
Nice.
We have 100 citrus trees here, and they're just starting to produce this year.
Wow.
So I'm starting, and some of them were mystery trees, so I'm starting to figure out what they were. So we have like little limes, we have kumquats, tangerines, lemons, grapefruit.
Nice.
So I'm really excited for next year. I'm gonna fertilize these trees a lot this year with organic fertilizer.
Nice.
And they'll really start producing.
Facts.